Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 55, the big 5-5 of the GVGCast. I'm your host for today, Ash Paulson, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend and GVG co-founder, Steve Bowling, and our amazing video editor, Brandon B. Money Miracle. How's it going, y'all?
We're like 7 days away from Zelda, man.
I know!
I'm just
a
in
week?
some,
Yep.
whatever, I don't know what this is, but I don't know, I'm paralyzed.
I'm
Pre-game jitters.
Yeah.
I'm so torn because of course I'm excited about Zelda, but it's just too much and I kind of wish it was coming out in like July. I'm sorry, Steve. I just wish it was.
I
know.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes, Ash. Like
Right.
objectively wrong about something.
I know, but I'm working on Burning Shores. I'm working on Future Redeemed.
Okay. Well, we'll all play Tears of the Kingdom, and
Yes.
you can wait.
Oh no, that's the thing is I will be switching to Zelda when it comes out as well. Although I do have to travel launch weekend. Unfortunately, I'm going to Syracuse over the weekend, next weekend, for my niece-in-law's graduation, college graduation. So I'm not going to quite get to dig into Zelda immediately, but I will be as soon as I can.
I said it on our Discord. I am going to be very ill next Friday.
Right, I know.
I feel it coming on right now, like in here.
Like I told you, man, you got to take trifluenza seriously. It's not to be trifled with.
Yeah,
Trifled with. I didn't even do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I have friends flying in for this. Like we are planning to make the launch of this game an event. I think we're.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we've said it yet, but we're planning on probably moving GVGcast to make room.
Yeah. We're planning on doing it next Thursday instead at the usual time.
Because all y'all will be playing Zelda. Don't lie to us.
You'll be playing it, we'll be playing it, and we didn't want you to have to split your attention or anything, or split our attention. And it'll also let me be on the show, because if it was on Friday next week, I would have already been on a plane to Syracuse. So fortunately, I don't have to miss it. Speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, though, I'm sure all of you have already heard, but just in case you haven't, it has officially leaked. So be spoiler safe. Watch out, do whatever you can to protect yourself, because it is completely leaked and people are streaming it, playing the whole game. So yes, just please do be careful and watch out for spoilers. Also, as always, we have a sponsor for today's episode, and that is, as always, The Game Orb. The Game Orb is a YouTube channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. While games like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu can be seen on the channel, along with others, the Game Orb will also now be adding Splatoon 3, Super Mario Sunshine, and Fall Guys to the gaming collection. So be sure to subscribe to the Game Orb at the link in the description. And of course, as always, I have also pinned a link to their channel in the YouTube chat. So as I always say, please go show them some love. Watch, like their content, subscribe to their channel, because they have been supporting us at our top Patreon tier from the very beginning of Good Vibes Gaming. So thank you so much, Game Orb, as always. And speaking of our patrons, we have 2 birthday shout-outs this week. Trite Hexagon, whose birthday was Wednesday, May 3rd, and Keel, whose birthday is tomorrow, May 6th. So happy birthday to both of you, and I hope you get a lot of gaming time in and a lot of friends and family time in and a lot of great food. One more thing, actually, that Daniel, who's not here today because he's working on Emblem Con, which is like a Fire Emblem themed online con, so definitely check that out if you can. But he did let me know that Trite Hexagon, whose birthday, as I said, is Wednesday, would like us to shout out their YouTube channel, which does chiptune covers. So Trite Hexagon has a channel where he does chiptune arrangements, mostly on the Game Boy. Covers can come from game series like Pokemon, Ace Attorney, Mario, Metroid, and many others. He has covered the entire OST of Ace Attorney 1 and lots of songs from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. The channel graphic design was also made by GVG's one and only Daniel. So if you like chiptune music and have nostalgia for the Game Boy, please check him out. New releases every Saturday. And I'm happy to talk about this because I, as you know, love video game music and I love chiptunes. So yeah, I'm going to be checking out his channel after the show. I'm super excited. I'm also posting a link to his channel in YouTube chat and live audience chat. So definitely go give his stuff a listen. All right, that was a lot of stuff at the top of the show. So guys, we got a week until Zelda. What are you playing right now to pass the time until Tears of the Kingdom drops?
Splatoon.
Yep, fair enough.
We're going to war.
Yep.
I'm just going to put that out there. We are going to war. I'm looking at you,
GVG
Brandon.
Civil War.
I know.
Team power, baby.
That's what's so funny is that we've got three people on this crew today, and we are representative of every. Well, no, we're not, because sorry, Steve, you and I are both on Team Courage,
That's
and then
right.
Brandon, you're on Team Power, and we're obviously on the right team. You're on the wrong team, Brandon, but that's okay.
No.
Yeah, I said it to Ash before, Brandon. It's okay to be wrong, like objectively, quantifiably wrong about something.
Look at the stats.
Look,
Team Power won the pre-Splatfest, baby.
you know what? Courage is going to come out in force during the actual Splatfest. Nintendo sent me a Courage tee. Did they send you a Power tee? I don't think so.
They
Brandon?
did, because I bought one.
Yeah. I know who has official backing here, and it's not Ganon.
Right?
We shall see.
I mean, we already know. Thanks,
Yeah.
Nintendo. Thank you, Nintendo, for the Courage shirt.
I love that, man.
Nintendo,
Power
I
We're going
love
to war,
that.
baby.
That
You
is
and
so
me.
great.
This is the end.
Yeah, I should have worn my Zelda shirt today, but
Is
I'll wear it
Nintendo
next
rooting
week.
for Link? I feel like Nintendo's rooting for the hero of the game they made.
They should. I'm certainly rooting for Link. So I unfortunately am not good enough at Splatoon to maybe be to contribute very much to Team Courage's points, but I'm gonna try. I'm
neither
gonna
am
try. Yeah.
But I'm going to do my best. I will say, though, in the interest of fairness, they did send me these keychains, and there is a Team Power keychain.
cool.
But nobody wants that one. Nobody wants that one. Look
Right.
at that.
Right.
I should probably peel the film off these. Who knows what's actually on these? Maybe they
I
say
know.
Brandon was right. I don't know. But
Heck yeah, baby.
No, I will definitely be playing some Splatoon over the weekend. But so is that really? What else are you guys playing? Anything else until working on anything else before Zelda?
I finished my playthrough of Breath of the Wild recently.
Okay.
And I
nice.
feel like I've been in full-on stare-at-the-wall mode since then. Like, I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, you know what? There's nothing left for me. Life is over. It's just Tears of the Kingdom and then an early retirement, I guess.
Well, Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot, man, because you and I have a discussion to do about Horizon Burning Shores, and I'm wondering how you're
Yes.
coming on that.
I'm about... Man, so here's my early thoughts on that.
Okay.
I've played what I assume to be roughly 70% of it.
Okay.
That game really needs to teach you how to play it again. Like...
You know, what's funny is I actually felt like I kind of fell right back into it more easily than I thought I would. I thought I was going to have to be I had a hard time getting into the Frozen Wilds. It was like I had like you're saying, I had a hard time, but this time it kind of felt like, kind of going right back into it. Surprisingly.
Not a chance for me. I
Wow.
flailed. I was like, how do I bow and arrow? That's all I
Wow.
remember.
Well, some of the new machines too are tough. Like the Bile Gut is intense.
Yes. Oh
I
my
love that
God. I love the level of challenge, but I do feel that there should have been some consideration for, hey, we did take a whole year to release this.
Yeah.
Like maybe you need a quick refresher on all the crazy crap you unlocked.
Right.
Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have flying bird thing and staff. And then I'm like, I had to look at the skill tree. I'm like, holy crap, she can do so much cool stuff. How do I do all of it?
Yeah. And Brandon, I know this is on your radar as well, but you haven't had a chance to get to it, of course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just so close to Zelda, and
Yeah.
I hate to have to say that, given Horizon's history.
Again, poor Gorilla. I always feel so bad for them in terms of releasing next to massive, massive games. And of course, Horizon in its own right is a big deal, but next to Zelda,
Oh, yeah.
everything's going to be small, pretty
I will
much.
champion Aloy and Horizon until I die, but
Yeah.
right now I've got to put my priorities ahead.
Right. Well, I got to
Yeah.
say, my thoughts so far is I'm really liking it. I think Gorilla did a bang-up job. I'm probably not as far in the story as you, Steve, but once we're ready for the discussion, I'm just going to mainline it through the rest of the story because I know it won't be that particularly long, but I've been doing a lot of exploring, and I hit upon a side quest yesterday that surprisingly hit me in the fields. I was like, oh, that kind of got me. And for me, though, the coolest part, and I tweeted about this earlier this week, but just exploring Gorilla's vision of post-apocalyptic LA as an LA native, I'm so impressed by how accurate geographically it is. Like, if you use the Hollywood sign as a reference point, you find landmarks that are like the Chinese Theater and the Beverly Center that are roughly where they should actually be. And I just think that's the coolest thing. So, I guess it's kind of like I'm an LA nerd because it's my home city, but that's just been really cool for me. So I've really been enjoying that.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome DLC. Like Brandon said, the release timing with this series is just super unfortunate all the time.
It really
I tried to
is.
play Advance Wars too, and it's just
Oh.
it is weird that Zelda occupies so much space in my mind that I'm just like, there's a game that's not out yet that I want to play, and I'm saving
Right.
myself for some reason.
Well,
And then
and as
yeah.
oh, go ahead, Brandon.
I bought Advanced Wars, or I bought Advanced Wars. I bought the Battle Network collection.
Oh,
and
nice.
I have played like a combined hour between them.
I hear
It's
you.
just Zelda's on the horizon, and I am in my
good one.
seat.
Yeah.
Zelda's
Oh,
on the
thank you.
horizon. I like it.
I will
am-
say this though, Advance Wars just didn't click for me yet. I've played like 5-6
Really?
missions. I'm with you, Brandon. I'm about a couple hours into it, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's that I don't love the aesthetic, or that it's just because the gameplay is not too dissimilar from Wargroove, which I love. But there's something about it that's just not working right for me, and I'm wondering if maybe if I get further into the game, it'll eventually click, and I'll get really into it. But so far, I'm like 5-6 missions in. I'm just like, I don't know. I just the desire to continue is not there.
Right.
It definitely to me feels like I'm playing a Game Boy Advance game, and I wonder if that's an element of it, like because the game itself didn't really evolve. It just looks a lot nicer. So maybe that's an element of it. We've played more interesting tactical games like the last couple Fire Emblems, and I think those are more interesting.
Well, the funny thing is, one of the things that I agree, it feels like you're playing a Game Boy Advance game. The thing I really dislike, though, the thing that's off-putting to me, is that the visual style that they went with for the remake does not suit the animations very well, because they clearly took the animations from the Game Boy Advance game, lifted them, and recreated them in this new visual style. And I'm like, there was
like
this
the
kind of
in-game
like
ones,
say what?
like the in-game ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I'm just like, when characters like celebrate or when they squash down those bases, I'm like, that I can see looking really amazing in sprite form, but like in this 3D form, it just doesn't have that same quality to it, and it just looks kind of weird.
Yeah, I hate to say it, it kind of feels cheap, and I mean no disrespect at all to any of the developers or anything, but it just when you compare it to the character art for like the captains and whatnot, like there's such a difference there. The contrast is too much for me.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Like I think the actual like you said, when the captains are talking and you have the nice cutouts of them, they look wonderful. And I'm like, if you just made the whole game look like that, that would be amazing. Like it would 10 out of 10. I'd love it. But I just think kind of the plasticky toy soldier vibe that they went with, it just doesn't feel quite right.
I got you. Brandon, I have to say, man, I am jealous because as good as Burning Shores is, I've had to set Future Redeemed aside for it to get through Burning Shores. And, well, because I want to be ready for, Steve and my discussion. But, like, I tried so hard to be done in time to discuss it with you guys. I didn't make it. And it is so unbelievably good. Of course, I'm not going into spoilers, but, like, as I play through Future Redeemed, and I tweeted about this yesterday, I think I'm coming around to the idea that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 wasn't just my favorite game of last year, but it might be like a top 10 GOAT for me. Like, it definitely top 20, but it might be top 10. Like,
I feel the same way.
I adore this game.
I did not like 3 nearly as much as I like 2.
I know, it's very divisive, and there are people out there I've seen, they're like, oh, 3's my least favorite, and that's totally fair. But it hit me in a certain way. It's one of my favorite casts of characters in both the main game and the DLC. The soundtrack is insane. The world I loved exploring. In the story, everything just comes together so well, especially if you played 1 and 2. It is so rewarding. And man, I can't obviously keep waxing poetic about this game, but I'm going to keep harassing Derek to finish the main game and Future Redeemed because I still want to have another discussion so I can talk about it because I have so much to say.
Is going to love Future Redeemed.
Oh, I know.
Love it.
I need to try it. I thought that I owned the expansion pass and I just didn't. I forgot to buy it. And I looked at it and I was like, maybe another day. I don't have the time for this right now. I truly want to play it.
Is definitely like appealing to a very specific audience in the Xenoblade fandom.
Well, see,
so like if you're interested in that, then go for it.
So I play the thing that's most interesting to me is that there does seem to be overt references to Xenogears. And I played Xenogears on the PS1 back in the day. And then I skipped everything else and went straight to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And
yeah.
So I'm like a very much a lapsed fan of the franchise, but just seeing like a character that looks like Fei Fong Wong was enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, I need to play this because
such a cool reference.
He seems very much like legally distinct Fei, and I'm like, I can do that.
He also fights with his fists.
He does, and his fighting ready animation is exactly like Fei's.
Some of his attacks are too.
Yeah. So yes, that's so
cool.
true. It is the coolest thing. Yeah, I want to get
back
back
to Fei's Mega Man, and I said that specifically to harm you, Ash.
That is, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the harm. That's I can't believe you would even have the gall to compare Mighty Number 9 or breathe that name in the same sentence as something like Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That is insulting. I am insulted. But you know what? I'm not insulted by? Super chats. Y'all are so incredibly generous.
What if one of them's an insult?
Oh, that's true. There could be, or somebody might be trying to
quick super chat and insult someone.
Yeah, right. But yes, we're going to read out a few super chats, and then we'll get on to the news for this week. Not that there's been a whole lot, but there are a few things to talk about. So first of all, Jaden Buck with $5. Thank you so much. Crazy Question Fridays. Crazy question number 81. What was your most devastating spoiler moment aside from Tears of the Kingdom? Obviously, ooh. I got a good one for this. I can't say the spoiler just in case anyone still maybe intends to play it in the audience, but somebody, while I was playing BioShock Infinite, like obviously way back ago, while I was playing BioShock Infinite, somebody out of nowhere cold DM'd me 3 specific words that spoiled the crux of basically the whole plot. It was 3, and you might be able to figure out what those 3 words are if you've played it, but that was the entire DM, those 3 words, and it absolutely ruined the entire the big twist of the game for me, and that really sucked.
I had a douche lord do the same thing to me when I revealed that I was reviewing The Last of Us Part 2. Somebody publicly replied to my announcement that I was reviewing it with a spoiler. You know the one.
I can only imagine which one it is. Yeah.
Who would have guessed? Yeah. Thank you for that, asshole.
I guess a lot of us here probably were also just spoiled on Xenoblade 1 by Smash. Because,
I was, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And I guess maybe probably quite a bit fewer of us, but Final Fantasy VII as well. Not that you know what you're looking at if you don't have the context for it, but basically Sephiroth's stage is just one giant spoiler.
Someday I really want to have like a discussion on what the statute of limitations for spoilers
I know.
is.
It's so hard, right? Because I never want to
convene like a tribunal of people.
Yeah.
For me,
for sure.
I had I was in high school when Skyward Sword came out. I want to say I was a junior, and I had a friend who was playing the game alongside me, and we would go home after school, play the game, meet each other in class, and then talk about what we did last night in the game, or talk about the story and whatnot. He was just a little bit ahead of me, and he kept accidentally saying things that spoiled specific moments. I don't want to spoil anything about Skyward Sword for anybody, but he was not malicious at all. Like, this is not hate towards him.
Sure.
I'm the opposite side of that same coin. Like, my brother and I grew up sharing games and playing them together, and if I knew that I was ahead of him in a game, I would slyly reference spoilers. Just so that, like, in such a way that he might not know that I was spoiling the game, but when he got to that moment, he'd know I had spoiled it.
Right.
No. I'd be like, wouldn't it be cool if you could find that legendary sword from the first Phantasy Star in this game? And he'd be like, yeah, man, that would be rad. And then he'd get it and he'd be like, you son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
How far ahead of me are you?
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
He deleted my save, and I totally deserved it.
Oh, no. He deleted your save?
The ultimate revenge.
Yeah.
Oh.
To be fair, I had beaten the game, and that was my clapback. He's like, fuck you, and he deleted my save. And I was like, I finished the game like 3 days ago, baby.
Nice.
Enjoy your grinding.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that question, Jaden. And next up, we have Lizard81288. But Lizard, your question actually is something we're going to be talking about. One of the news stories we're going to be covering later in the show. So I'm going to read your super chat out later when we're going to be talking about that, so it's more relevant. So thank you, and I'll get to it, I promise. Next up, Hustle Bones with $4.99. Thank you so much. Just want to say thanks for being the kind, funny, wonderful folks you all are. All of you.
Aw.
P.S. Ted Lasso is the GVG of TV shows. Strongly recommend. Well, thank you so much for those kind words, Hustle
I've
Bones.
heard
It means
so many good things about Ted
Oh,
Lasso.
me too. I was going to say, I've heard, especially recently, I've been hearing a lot about Ted Lasso and how good it is. I haven't seen it myself, but it certainly is something I'd like to check out at some point. And thank you so much for the kind words, Hustle Bones. That means so much to us that you think those things of us. So thank you very much. Next up is Tinker with $2. Thank you so much. Yo, what's up? Just got a job again, so vibes are up. Congratulations,
Hey,
Tinker.
yeah.
Nice. We're super happy to hear that. So good for you. Congratulations, and celebrate this weekend if you can, because that's awesome. Next up, Raul Los Santana dos Santos with 550 Brazilian Real. Thank you so much. Good night, GVG. Happy just 1 week for Tears of the Kingdom Day. Any last GVG cast predictions before the launch? We're all going to come down with a severe case of trifluenza. That's my
Oh, B-Money's got one.
Oh, okay.
I've got one too, actually.
My one prediction is that I'm going to have a hell of a good time.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll give a prediction since that's what you're looking for. I'm going to just quadruple down on what I've been saying since the beginning. There's going to be some timey-wimey stuff. One of them
gets
shifted off to a different point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's Link or if it's Zelda, but one of them is getting shoved into the past.
I agree. And I guess my prediction would be that I just have this feeling, and I know Derek would disagree, but I just have this feeling that there is going to be a more present story in Tears of the Kingdom. Not that Breath of the Wild didn't have a story, but it was very, you had to go
100%.
out and search for it.
100% I agree on that. Because you think about it, we know so little. And to be clear, just so that, because there's people here that don't watch everything we do, none of us have played the game.
Oh,
beyond my preview that I did, none of us got review code, so none of us are playing it currently. None of us pirated it, I assume. But
yeah, definitely not.
It's out there, but it's not out there. Anyway, but I agree, because there's so much mystery surrounding this game still. And Nintendo did not let me play it from I couldn't discern what point in the game I was at.
Okay.
But you don't know, with Link and Zelda being separated by something, I assume time. You have a lot of explaining to do. You have to explain a lot of what the hell is going on. The castle's in the sky. There's islands in the sky. There's stuff underground. What is going on in Hyrule that all of this stuff that wasn't there is there now? And you have to have a story to back all that up.
And there may be, there may be an element of going around and collecting memories, that returns, especially if we are right about there being two time periods here that we're dealing with. That might return, but I think if it does, it is going to return alongside a more robust present story.
The question is, what do you do with memories, though? Link presumably has all his memories.
That's true. Maybe it's more echoes from the other timeline or something, if that is what's happening.
Something. If you're separated by time, then one person has to have some visibility. I see Brandon's wheels turning.
Uh-oh.
For me, I think the story is going to be more upfront and present, just because we have those villagers and NPCs and Prince Sidon fighting alongside you. The plot is actively happening, whereas in Breath of the Wild, anyone's involvement in the main plot happened 100 years ago. But here they are in the present, actively doing things, and I think that means that the plot will primarily take place alongside you in the time period you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
I agree with that.
I think I agree with that as well. And we only have a week to wait. I can't believe it's almost
technically
here.
6 days if you're on the
6
West
days.
Coast.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I'm going to GameStop at midnight and picking this thing, or 9 p.m. and picking it up. That's why there's no GVGcast.
I wish I could, but I'll be in Syracuse by then. So the thing is, I could pick it up in Syracuse and I could play it on the plane ride back. But it's Zelda. I don't want my first experience starting Tears of the Frickin' Kingdom to be on a cramped plane.
You better delete Twitter.
Don't do it.
you better delete Twitter right off your phone.
I know.
Do yourself a favor. Have the full experience on your TV.
Yeah. I think I'm going to wait till I get back.
I disagree with that. So my favorite thing about Breath of the Wild was switching off between handheld and TV mode. So back when this all came out, Nick and I we basically had like a 3-day long party at my house where
That's awesome.
there was always one person playing handheld and one person playing on the TV, depending on the level of your Switch battery.
Nice. Yeah, I don't mind switching off. In fact, I played probably a good 20 hours of Breath of the Wild on handheld mode in various like planes and stuff. But I think the opening, my first time with it, I want to be
Oh
on the
yeah,
big
yeah.
screen.
I
That's
agree
why.
with that
Yeah,
100%. But I will
that's why I
admit,
want to wait.
Zelda is one of those games where, and I know you're no stranger to stomach problems, Ash, but if I'm like
That
suddenly
is for
like, oh
damn
God,
sure.
oh God, I'm like, wait, I don't have to
Yeah,
stop. You're coming with me.
that's so true. And yes, I
The
am,
Legend
as
of
you said, no
Zelda: A
stranger to
Link to
stomach
the
issues.
Toilet Seat.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Tears
Well,
on a toilet.
tears of the toilets. One more super chat for now, and then we'll move on to what little news we have to discuss this week. Bry Lewis, 97, with an incredible $50. Thank you so
Wow.
much for your
Thank you.
generosity. Rarely able to catch the show live as I usually work nights. Wanted to send good vibes to everyone at GVG and beyond. The channel gets better and better every day. All the love. Well,
Aw,
thank you.
thank
All the
you.
love right back to you. That means so much to us that you feel as though we're
Mwah.
getting better and better as we go. So thank you very much. And with that said, I will read out more super chats later in the show. But let's go ahead and get on to excuse me.
Damn it.
Let's go ahead and get on
Hold
to the
on, sorry.
news.
Live chat. Somebody just said tears of the latrinedom, and I'm like, damn it, that's perfect.
Oh, that's a good one. Azran, where are you at? Like, Azran's our resident pun master. I feel like you should have thought of that already.
It might have
Where
been.
you
It
at,
scrolled
Azran?
by so quick, but it just caught my eye.
Uh-huh. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what little news we have this week. We were going to talk about the Splatoon 3 Zelda Splatfest, but we already did that. So we're going to move right on to a surprisingly candid interview that Kind of Funny did with Xbox head Phil Spencer. And he's shockingly honest about how, the missteps he feels the Xbox has taken over the years, and admitted that, they lost the Xbox One generation, and he feels as though that was the worst generation to lose. And so I haven't had time to sit down and watch the entire interview, but it sounds quite interesting and in-depth. How much of this interview have you guys been able to glean or seen highlights from?
I've caught highlights from the interview. Broadly speaking, I know that a few different sites did rundowns of the interview, and I read a couple of those, but I have not watched the full Xcast on Kind
Same.
of Funny where they interviewed him, which I should, and I'm going to. I have plans for that, but
Yeah. Same. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah. No, I'm basically in the same position. Like I've gleaned the big things. I keep hearing, I don't know. I've heard a lot of negativity surrounding the interview as it pertains to Phil Spencer himself, which I think is largely unfounded.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done a lot of good for Xbox, and I like how honest he's being here, especially as it pertains to the console wars. He's like, we're not out consoling Nintendo or Sony, and he
Right.
just straight up admits that. And I think he's right. Honing in on that Game Pass is working for them, and they should keep doing that.
I agree. I think there is a little bit too much negativity being directed his way. I've seen some people complaining that he basically has admitted defeat, and that's not true. If you really dig into what he's actually saying, as you said, Brandon, he did admit that they are not going to out console Nintendo and PlayStation, and he's right about that. But that doesn't mean he's admitting defeat for the entire Xbox brand and is saying, "Yeah, we'll never be able to." That's not true. So I've seen those thoughts going around, or those takes going around, and that just isn't true. And as you said, Brandon, I agree with a lot of what he said. They did really blow the Xbox One generation. We all remember it. They definitely did. And I appreciate that he's willing to be candid about it. He also talked about Redfall, which I have not played, but as you both have heard, apparently launched in a pretty bad state, and has done the whole. I'm ashamed of what happened there, and I still have faith in our team, but I really feel like we let our fans down, and I'm sorry, and I'm gonna try to be better in the future. So it is kind of refreshing to see, an executive like that being more candid than usual. Of course, there's stuff he's not going to say still. But
I applaud the honesty.
yeah,
But I think that he is doubling down on a direction that is not helping Xbox.
Sure.
I want Xbox to succeed as much as I want Sony or Nintendo to succeed. But I think the problem is that Xbox, historically, of the big three, is the least innovative. They do not push like really groundbreaking new features the same way that, you know, Nintendo historically, or more recently Sony, because let's face it, Sony went like their first 3 generations with the same controller. But I think that Sony has recently realized that the key to success for them is to like take the traditional console model and continue to push it forward with slight innovations here and there, right? Like the PS4 kind of introduced the touchpad thing, not a big hit, but the console itself was solid. Microsoft has been taking weird missteps for the last 2 generations, for like the last decade, when you put it in perspective. And I just think that what they really need to do is what worked for them initially with the Xbox and the 360, is to just push the envelope in terms of horsepower as hard as they can, and focus on developing strong IP, because they just don't have it.
They really don't. But then, of course, occasionally they'll surprise the hell out of us with really fresh games like Hi-Fi Rush. That came out of nowhere and blew us away.
The sad part about that, though, is that was not at all expected. Like, you know, it's great to get a surprise, but it's sad when it's like, the surprise is that the game is good. And, you know, they've clearly kind of lost their way in terms of their tentpole franchises. Like Forza is still fantastic, but Halo Infinite was a huge letdown. Halo 5 before that just frankly sucked, you know? And it's like, I feel like a little disheartened reading Phil Spencer talking about like, oh, we need to continue to push Game Pass and innovation. I'm like, but Game Pass doesn't work if you don't have the games to back it up. And you really need to go back to your teams and say, you know, okay, let's get a little more hands-on with the production of these titles, and make sure that they're releasing in a state, you know, that they're exciting to play.
I'm of 2 minds about this. Like, I know a lot more casual gamers that are kind of in my circle that don't buy games anymore. They just have Game Pass, and they just kind of play whatever ends up on there. And I think there's a value in that, like, because they're getting more exposure to games that they otherwise would have just ignored. And at the same, on the other hand, like, Xbox doesn't have a strong identity because it's lacking these kind of core IP at this point. But to me, it seems like the strategy is more, let's make Xbox a great place to play games, and not so much let's play great Xbox games.
Like an ecosystem. Like,
see, but the problem with that is that Phil Spencer in that same interview says that the core of Xbox is not Game Pass or xCloud. He says that it's still the console, and that they are not moving away from their console business. Well, you need something. Like, if you're going to come to me in a few years, let's say 5 years, and ask me to buy another Xbox, you need to have something to launch it with for me to play. And telling me it's a great Game Pass machine doesn't sell me hardware. It sells me Game Pass. Like, because I'll say, okay, awesome, Game Pass. I already have that, and I can play it on the Series X you gave me 5 years ago. That's
exactly where I'm at, too. Yeah. Totally agree. And I also agree with what you said earlier, Brandon, about despite the missteps and despite maybe some of the weird, contradictory things Phil says in this interview, I do still believe he's largely been very good for the brand. He's been a very good steward for Xbox, and I think that he still is will be a good one going forward. I still think he's got what it takes, and I think that he's in the position he should be. No one's perfect, of course. But this isn't like making me feel like, oh man, they got to replace him with somebody else. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I'm not there with him. So I think he's still the right steward for the brand. But Xbox is in a bad place right now, though, in terms of the console brand itself and the release schedule, and that there isn't one really for software, especially in-house software. So we'll have to see where it goes. I mean, we know he's heard the complaints, so you have to imagine that they're going to address them and maybe hopefully try to ramp up their in-house game lineup production. Who knows, though? Yeah.
I feel like the Xbox brand is really ripe for a reboot at this point. Like, I think there are things that work. I agree with Brandon. Game Pass remains the best value in gaming for a lot of reasons. But one, it's not ubiquitous enough. Like, it's not on enough things.
Right.
Like, I should be able to buy a TV, not just a Samsung, not just an extremely high-end Samsung, no less, and have an Xbox app on it. Like, I own 2-3 OLED TVs in this house, and I can't play Xbox games on any of them without buying a $500 Xbox.
Yeah.
So if they really want Game Pass to gain more traction, because they have recently reported that even Game Pass is underperforming expectations.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
So if they want Game Pass to be, they need to make it more available. It needs to be on everything. Second to that, if they're going to release a new console, like you said, give us a new UI. Like, we've been using the same god-awful Windows 8 based UI for
I
10
hate that
plus
UI
years at this
so
point.
Much. Yeah.
And Microsoft just can't seem to let it go. It is the least user friendly of the big three right now. Like,
Definitely.
sharing a clip.
Easily.
Do you even know? Can anyone say how to share a clip on Xbox without turning
Not
on an
offhand.
Xbox?
It is so hard, and way harder than it should be.
Yeah, and it's tied. One of the things that I think is interesting about Xbox, and it's the same thing that affects all these other games that you see, like these NFT games and stuff, is when it's so clearly driven by some corporate initiative that doesn't benefit the end user or the consumer of the device or service. Like, Microsoft was like, we want people to use OneDrive, so we're going to upload all your gaming clips to OneDrive, and you're going to have to find them there.
Right.
Who the hell uses OneDrive?
Exactly. Who uses OneDrive? Yeah. It is so incredibly, UI is so incredibly not user friendly. And that's one thing that is wild to me, that of all the big three, Nintendo got right. Like, it is amazing to me that of the big three, Nintendo makes video and screenshot sharing by far the easiest on their platform.
I disagree now. I think in 2017 that was 100% accurate. I think with the launch of the PS5, Sony's pulled ahead in that regard.
It's great on PS5.
I just feel like there are... It is. I mean, it's good. I agree, but I just feel like there are more steps involved in terms
There aren't. It might feel... So, hear me out, because I do this all the time. I'm like a serial clip sharer on Twitter.
Okay.
In the Switch UI, you have to completely leave your game. Then you have to go to your album. Then you have to find it. Then you type out the tweet. Then you send it. On the PS5, you hit the home button while remaining in the game. You choose the thumbnail of the last thing you captured, and then there's a share button right there. You tap out your tweet, and you're back in your game. Like, Sony, it's very close, but I'd say that Sony has edged out Nintendo at this point. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Switch 2, because obviously that's a limitation of the hardware that the Switch it makes so much of its available video memory, available to any game that's running, that it can't run the UI for Twitter at the same time.
No, you know what? That's a very good point, and I agree with you in the context of, like, the follow-up, like tweeting something out, or like tweeting out the screenshot you just took. I was actually just talking about taking a screenshot. You press one button, done on Switch.
That is a 100% one-for-one experience now. Sony copied Nintendo in that regard.
They did. That's true. Yeah. No, it has gotten better. You're right. And so that's a really good point when you take into account all the follow-up stuff, like tweeting out your screenshots and videos and stuff. So I guess I should say I'm shocked that Nintendo got it so right, period.
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember in 2017 being like, how is this so much snappier than either of the two, like, big home consoles that are available?
Right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about Xbox wise before we move on?
No, I think we have strong feelings, but
yeah. I hope they can get it right. I hope they can course correct. Because I love my Series X. I was a huge Xbox 360. Oh my God, I spent forever on my Xbox 360. So, I love me some Xbox, but yeah, they got a course correct for sure. All right. Right before we move on, I just wanted to highlight Autoshoe's question in our YouTube chat asking, did you guys see Guardians 3 yet? No, but I'm going to see it tonight with my wife at 11 p.m. and I am so excited. It is my most anticipated movie of the year. I know I'm going to cry. I can't wait to see what happens in this movie. I can't wait.
And
Brandon, you've already seen it
last night.
Oh, you both already saw it. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, well, I got lucky. So my day job, I work with vendors a lot, and they just sent me like an email, and they're like, hey, we have an open screening for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 tonight if you want to show up. And I was like, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I just left last night
too.
and went and saw it for free.
Obviously no spoilers, but Brandon, I know you said you loved it. You were very emotional. Steve, what's your quick no spoiler take?
Oh man, yeah, it definitely had me choking up at a few
Okay.
different points in it. It is an awesome movie, and it's a little heartbreaking at moments.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard, and I know that as excited as I am, I might not be fully ready just for all the feels that are going to happen. But I love the Guardians. Yeah.
The one additional thing I'll say is it features quite possibly my favorite action sequence in any Marvel movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. I know the one you're
Okay.
talking about without even talking
You
about
will know it. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you
And
see it, you'll know it.
That's a really high bar with the final game, final battle from Endgame. Like, holy crap, that's a high bar.
Definitely better.
It is. It is
Wow.
a fantastic sequence.
Cool. I can't wait. Like I said, seeing it at 11 p.m. tonight, and I am so
I'm going to DM
so
Brandon
excited.
right now to make sure we're on the same page about this.
Nice. All right, while you do that, let's go ahead and move on to the rest of our news, and it is a pair of Capcom-related stories. Not Mega Man, though. So you thought probably I was going to try to force Mega Man in here. I didn't this week because there's not really anything to talk about. But the first one is that Capcom's president, Haruhito Tsujimoto, says they're aiming to sell 10 million units lifetime for Street Fighter 6. And Brandon, I think you and I agree that they're going to smash that, most likely.
I think they're being a little too conservative here.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, lifetime. Like, it might take them a while to
Yeah.
get there, but with multiple years of support in terms of years of DLC, new characters, I think they can do it. Maybe smashing is a too strong a term, but I think they're going to hit it. I think they will. It is a high water mark, to be sure, but there is such a groundswell around Street Fighter 6, especially now that there's so much appeal to casual players who just want to play the single player content. Street Fighter's finally delivering on that.
I had to look this up. So I'm not trying to throw shade on Street Fighter 6 because I think Street Fighter 6 looks fantastic. But Street Fighter 4 sold about 9 million units. 5 I think sold like 3, and 4, I should be clear, 4 sold 9 million units across multiple different SKUs, like
Right.
where I'm talking Super 4, Arcade Edition, all of those. So I mean, if you take like a holistic view and you assume that 6 is going to have like a update, like a big champion edition or turbo or whatever, then I could see that 10 million being attainable. But if 6 is a standalone release in the same way that 5 basically was, I don't think that 10 million is happening.
Well, there was Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition, and I just looked it up, and actually Street Fighter 5 hit 7 million copies.
Yeah, but that was Arcade Edition was DLC. It wasn't.
True, that's fair. It was a separate release and also DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess 7 million, a 3 million copy uplift from 5, which in my opinion was not a great game. I guess it's attainable, but I'd be shocked if it went like far beyond that number.
Yeah, no, I think Smashing was a little bit too.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I think
just
they can
looking
attain
at
it.
some of their other franchises. Like when Monster Hunter World hit 18 million units sold, like that just told me that Capcom is they're on the right foot right now. And with the marketing campaign they've had behind 6 and how hard they're pushing it, and how much it seems to have already been embraced by both fighting game fans and casuals, I think this game's gonna have long legs.
Oh, I think it'll have long legs for sure. I just think historically 10 million is a pretty high mark for any game in the series to clear.
Sure.
So 6 will have to considerably outperform the last couple of games in order to reach that number. I hope it does. It's early for me to say it's better than 4, but I know it's better than 5. I just really like the betas I've played. I've loved
Oh,
them.
me too. And I say that as someone who liked where 5 ultimately ended up after all the updates and DLC characters and such. And I loved watching it competitively. But 6 looks so much better than even that. And yeah, I completely agree. And just to make it clear, Terra Force, Street Fighter 5 is console exclusive. Street Fighter 6 is not. So
5 is
it's
not
coming
console exclusive.
is 5 on
PC.
Steam?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I didn't remember that.
It was
I think they were saying it
PlayStation
didn't
and
come to
PC
Xbox.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, like a console exclusive on
But-
PlayStation. Sorry, I
But
misread what
6
you
is
meant.
coming to
Terra Force.
Xbox, right?
I believe so.
I think so. It's not a PlayStation.
I think it's
exclusive
coming to
like 5
Xbox
was.
Series X, but not Xbox One, whereas it's coming to PS4
Yeah.
and PS5.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, so
Yep.
it is coming to Xbox, so that's also going to be a factor as well. And sorry, I misread what you meant, Terra Force. Obviously, yes, Street Fighter V is PlayStation exclusive, or PlayStation console exclusive. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think it's attainable. We'll see. I know I can't. We all can't wait for it. It looks incredible, and there's such a groundswell around Street Fighter 6 that just didn't exist for 5 that makes me really excited. So we'll see. The other little news story we have here that's Capcom related is that Capcom has said that the Ace Attorney series, that they feel the Ace Attorney series is doing quote unquote exceptionally well worldwide, and that
Okay.
of course, yeah. But it's like, okay, that's cool. But then put your money where your mouth is, Capcom, because guess what? You also have said that you're happy with how Mega Man's been doing, and where's our new Mega Man game? So it doesn't make me trust them that we're getting an Ace Attorney 7 anytime soon, but I sure hope we are. I'd love that.
The problem, and I think I said this on the very last episode of GVGcast we did, Capcom just doesn't have the resources internally to make all the things we want them to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're so stretched thin already with Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter.
Well,
I mean those are
They need to find development houses they're comfortable partnering with and hand off some stuff.
The thing with like Monster Hunter though is that has 2 dedicated teams that I don't think cross pollinate.
Yeah,
And even then, like all of their games are on RE Engine now. So like you said, Steve, it should theoretically be easier to hand out some of these other games. Assuming they all are on RE Engine, I don't see why you wouldn't at this point. It's proven itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still hoping that they just bring Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6 to consoles finally, because I want to play them with my wife. We play all the Ace Attorney games together, but I'm not going to crowd around a little 3DS or phone to play those games with her. So I still hope they do a second collection, collecting 4, 5, and 6. Obviously, I'd love to see 7 as well. Moawe in our patron chat, they did not announce 7 already. That was part of the Capcom Giga Leak, and it did exist in the Giga Leak, but there's been no mention of it since. And guess what else existed in the Giga Leak? Mega Man 12. And where's that? So yeah, I don't necessarily trust them at their word when they say, "Oh yeah, it's doing exceptionally well," and that actually means something. I would like to be able to, but they've
burned us too many times before.
Exactly. Exactly. So we'll see where it goes. But that is pretty much all the news we have for this week. Like I said, it was kind of a slow news week. So let's go ahead and read out a few more super chats, and then we will, as always, move on to our patron topics for the week. So first off, we have a pair of super chats from Switch Realm. Thanks so much. The first one both for $4.99. Thank you. First off, really enjoyed your mental health video. Thought you all had great choices. I would like to add Eastward to that. Emotional roller coaster, but great. I've always wanted to play that. Yeah, thank you so much. And as Steve knows, I was heartbroken that I could not participate in that because mental health is such a big thing for me. But the due date for that happened to fall right on the same day that I had norovirus last week, and I couldn't even sit at my desk. I was feeling so crappy, so I had to sit out. But hopefully next time there will be a next one, and I can get in on it then. And next, your other super chat. With the way you guys feel about Advance Wars, do you think Battalion Wars would have been a little more fun? Or is that just me? And I will defer to the two of you on that because I am not an Advance Wars guy.
It's not an issue of the game's mechanics, I think. For me, and I hate to say it, but a game's visual and stylistic presentation carries a lot of weight for me in my enjoyment of the game. And I think for me it was just that kind of like Brandon said, without any disrespect to Way Forward, it did kind of have a cheap feel to it, and it something about it doesn't feel right when you're playing it, and that's really hard to describe. Because I think if you took, again, no disrespect to our pals at Way Forward, but if you took the Wargroove art style and you used that to remake Advance Wars and it played exactly the same as it currently does, I would have loved it.
Fair point. Brandon, anything to add to that?
No, I don't think so.
Fair enough. All right. Well, then we'll move on to Cutie Caitlin Super Chat for $10. Thanks. $10. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I think what you are meaning to type here is Xenoblade 2 is the mighty number 9 of Xenoblade. # insult. And while I agree that Xenoblade 2 is definitely my least favorite in the series, in the Xenoblade series at least, I didn't play X, so other than X.
I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate Caitlin using the super chat for an insult. I didn't think anyone was gonna do it.
And there's actually one more that does that right above, yeah. But I do agree with you, Caitlin. 2 is my least favorite, but I think 2 is still a damn good game, and I would not even come close to likening it to the trash fire that was Mighty Number 9. So, yeah, yeah.
That is slander. Xenoblade 2 is fantastic.
Yeah, it's still by Xenoblade standards, it disappointed me a little bit, but in a vacuum, I still think it's great. So, yeah. Next up, Jason Eloa with $2. Thank you so much. Just saying an insult in quotes. You're welcome.
Damn it.
Well,
thank you.
We got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the insult.
One more super chat for now, and then we will move on to our patron topics. Lax Snore with $4.99. Thank you so much. Hey, GVG, only have time for one. Final Fantasy VII or Xenoblade Definitive Edition. Have never played either before.
FF7,
that's hard.
Baby. No hesitation on my part.
So I think it's definitely tough because they're both incredible games. Obviously, I love Xenoblade 1, but I do agree with Steve. FF7 is transformative. It completely changed the JRPG landscape here in the West, and it is, in my opinion, required playing. Like, you gotta play FF7.
I'll be contrarian here. I'll go with Xenoblade.
Okay.
If we were saying remake, I'd say remake. I played the original Final Fantasy VII for the first time after playing remake.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it aged very well, but that's just my honest opinion.
Fair.
I still think it's a good game. I still loved it, but like, if I didn't have all those Switch cheats, like turning off random encounters, going really fast, and all that other stuff, I don't think I would have finished it.
Ooh, see, I think though, and I'd be curious to ask like a younger member of our audience, and I know you're a baby, but I played FF7 when I was like 14, 15.
Same. Like I played when I was 12 or
I feel
13,
like that's the right age to play that game because you have so much disposable time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like FF7 in its original form without the Switch cheats is a game that is designed for someone with a lot of time. The same way I feel about Persona 5 today. Like I feel like 15-year-old me would have crushed that game and loved it to death. And now I look at it and I'm like, 150 hours? Are you joking? Like I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting, but I feel like there's also, the generational component to that. Like obviously at the time we played it, those were cutting edge graphics.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am also a guy who didn't become an RPG fan until his mid-20s. So that kind of old RPG design doesn't gel with me. Like even as much as I love Dragon Quest, I hate random encounters. Like if you have random encounters in your game, I'm going to have a bad time.
See, I started JRPGs with FF6 Chrono Trigger, and I went back to FF4 after that. So like I was primed and ready for another JRPG of that turn-based old school design. I just already loved that genre before FF7 came out. But yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think it's a generational thing. And to go back to the super chat, definitely I would say we all recommend that you do play both if you can, but prioritize FF7. Two of us feel that way anyway. And Brandon would prioritize Xenoblade, but FF7 is also
it's okay
shorter.
to be wrong.
FF7 is also shorter. Like Xenoblade is
Xenoblade is fantastic. I think it's just a matter of I think it is a generational thing. Like whichever one resonated with you more, the game you came up with. I don't think there's an objectively correct answer.
Sure. I think that's fair.
I should even clarify further. I played both of these games for the first time within the last 3 years. Both of them.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's right. Okay. Fair enough. Steve, you got some love from Moawe in the chat here. Love the pod, man. A highlight of my weekend. Of course, talking about your podcast that you do every week. The WIN, the WIN, a Nintendo-themed podcast that is part of our Patreon. So just if that sounds interesting to you, and it is an awesome podcast, because Steve is awesome, patreon.com/GVGaming. So check us out there if you can. We'd super appreciate it. with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our patron topics for the week. Again,
Right.
our Patreon. This is a perk reserved for our producers and up. So if you would like to suggest topics for us to discuss every week, consider supporting us on Patreon if you would. All right, Brandon, let's start with you, man.
Hang on, I'm making a poor taste joke in the live audience chat. Let me finish it
No
first.
worries. Well, then, Steve, want to start with you?
Yeah.
All right.
I saw that. That's brutal. That's so mean.
Uh-oh.
All right. Losers
I don't-
own Sega something. Anyway. All right. They would just be a 1-minute podcast. Nothing happened in the world of Sega today. Good night. Anyway, all right. My question this week comes from Jason Uloa. Jason writes, haven't done one of these in a while, so here's a simple one for y'all. Seeing as yesterday was May 4th, I have a Star Wars themed question. Are you with the Alliance or the Empire? And I love me some Star Wars. I'm not like a super fan. I couldn't tell you who shot first, but I mean, I do like Star Wars. I went to Galaxy's Edge. I built a lightsaber. I had fun. I am 100% Alliance, though. I can't do Sith. I like to live in a gray area.
I am right there with you, man. I am a very, very casual Star Wars guy. I've seen all the movies, but I haven't really seen any of the extended universe stuff, not the TV series or anything. Shadows of the Empire, though, that slapped on N64. Love that game. But yeah, very casual about Star Wars, but I agree. The Alliance, I'm predictable. I'd like to be the good guy. I'd like to be hero rather than villain. In Mass Effect, I could never be a renegade Shepard. I always had to be Paragon. So yeah, it's Alliance for me.
So despite being a power boy for the Splatfest, I think I'm also going to be on the Alliance because all of the villains in Star Wars are losers. Ganondorf's not a loser.
Fair. I might not disagree with that, actually. Yeah. I don't know. Palpatine was kind of cool and effective in the original trilogy.
I was going to say, if you see him later on, he's kind of
no, not in the new trilogy. Definitely not. So, yeah.
So the answer of who shot first, it was me.
Nice. All right. Well, then, thank you for that fun Star Wars themed question, Jason. And Brandon, now you're up, man.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So my question comes from Vedron. It says, what games have made you the most emotional / cry?
Ooh.
This one's an easy one for me just because of recency bias. I obviously can't talk about the content of it very much, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3, specifically the end of Chapter 5, I ugly cried. Like bad. I don't do that. So when a game makes that happen, it's good.
Tons
End
of Chapter 4 for me as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, mine's rough. You go first, Ash. I got to steel myself for mine.
All right. Well, those of you who know me know, I'm a crier. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I am a very emotional guy. Totally proud and happy to admit that. So I've cried at a lot of games, and I'm kind of an easy mark for that. Certainly Xenoblade 3, like you just said. Brandon, also good just off the top of my head. Nier Automata, Final Fantasy X and X-2. I guess mostly RPGs. Super Mario Galaxy didn't make me cry, but it got me in my feels a little bit, just because of certain moments, especially Rosalina's story, right? Yeah. It didn't make me ugly cry, but it definitely got me. Chrono Trigger, the ending theme. It's my favorite individual piece of music of all time, and I cannot help but well up every time I hear the credits theme to Chrono Trigger. So that as well. They're Final Fantasy 15, the very last scene. If you know, you know. I'm not going to spoil it, but despite all the missteps that game took, the last scene fucking hits like a knife.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Hits like a truck, man.
It really does. So Steve, what do you got for us, man?
All right. So try not to act shocked, but the game for me is Phantasy Star Online.
Okay.
So I played probably about 1,500 hours of that game. And along the way, nature of an online game, I made several friends, lots of friends in that game. People I spent, I talked to me through breakups, talked to me through lots of stuff that was going on in my life. And I had a group of friends that we agreed that our friendship existed within that game and only within that game. We just knew each other as our character names. And I had moved on from the Dreamcast version of PSO and on to the GameCube version for a few years at this point. But Sega announced that the server was going down on the Dreamcast. They were going to shut it down. And I was at that point living with my mom again. And I logged in, and my friends who I had played with were there. And they didn't make the jump over to the GameCube. They didn't have GameCubes. They weren't interested. They were done with Phantasy Star. But they logged in to see the end of the world, essentially. And so we played through to the last boss one last time. And after you beat the final boss of Phantasy Star Online, you get to sit in like a lobby, like a really peaceful version of the lobby, and listen to music. And I was just sitting there, like, tears streaming down my face, realizing I was just about to lose 3 friends. I would never see them again for the rest of my life.
Tears of the Stevedom.
And yeah, we were just saying goodbye to each other. And it fucked me up good. Like, that server went down. I continued to ugly cry for several more hours, and I just went to bed. I was like, today sucks. It's like the worst day ever. And I still miss those guys. If any of you somehow are watching GVG, which you're not probably, but if you're out there, hit me up. I would love to play a game with you guys again and hopefully stay in touch. But yeah, it was definitely tough. Like, that nature of, like, just knowing that a game can kill a friendship is ugh.
Right. So some more that I've thought of while you were talking, Steve, and Brandon, I know you'll agree with me on this. Basically, every Kingdom Hearts game has made me cry. There are a couple of exceptions, like Chain of Memories, I think, but like,
what about the ones with long division in the title?
358 is one of 358 over 2 days is one of the saddest games in the series.
I like how
so
it just keeps going with it.
Oh, it is one of the saddest games in the series. If you know, you know. So that definitely got me. So basically every Kingdom Hearts game, and I wanted to highlight something GCM of Chaos said in our live audience chat. This is a dumb sob story, but Sonic Mania made me legit cry. Playing Chemical Plant Zone made me relive my childhood memories of repeatedly playing that stage as a kid. It's not dumb at all. Sonic Mania got me emotional too. When I first saw the reveal trailer, I was at the anniversary party in San Diego where they showed the trailer, and being in that room with other hardcore Sonic fans and seeing the grand return of 2D classic Sonic as we've wanted it for so long definitely made me cry. And when I got to Hydro City for the first time playing it, not Hydro City, I was so happy with the way they remastered that stage that it got me in my feels too.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's something about a character, a beloved franchise, one you grew up with, coming back in the way that you want it to, that can stir incredible emotions within people. Like, I remember in New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey, and the celebration in that, just the level of fan service that Nintendo put into that level. I was tearing up just playing through that. I was like, Mario kicks so much ass.
I was also going to say Super Mario Odyssey, but
that is a good one.
My emotional moment actually came much sooner, right after you leave the Cap Kingdom. And I don't remember the name of the kingdom for some reason. The one with the dinosaurs.
God, why can't I remember? Yeah,
what is
you're
that
right.
called?
Why can't I remember what it's
Cascade?
called? Cascade Kingdom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as soon as you get to Cascade Kingdom and that music starts welling up and the game just lets you go, it got me. I was like, damn, I am playing a sequel to Super Mario
Fossil
64.
Falls.
Fossil Falls, also called the Cascade Kingdom. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The dark.
That got me.
Brandon.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, as Brandon, word for word, I had the same exact experience. New Donk City made me feel warm and fuzzy, but Cascade Kingdom, I had to stop and just collect myself because it was so grand and beautiful. And it's like, Mario's back. It was really emotional for me, definitely.
Oh my god, Mario Odyssey had a lot of those moments, like when you're climbing the flagpole on the moon and Cappy's talking to you. Oh man,
yeah,
right in the feels. I love that game. Please make Odyssey 2.
Oh, that'd be great. Also, I'm ashamed of myself. Bolt Mouse X in our YouTube chat reminded me of one that I shamefully forgot. Mega Man 03, absolutely. And even more than that, Mega Man 04. That is one of the most brutally sad, emotional, just wistful endings, even though it comes full circle. It's just, if you're into the Mega Man lore and you're really into the characters, Mega Man 04 and 3 hit like a freight train. Oh man, those got me good. for sure. Thank you for the reminder, Bolt Mouse. I am ashamed as a Mega Man fan that I forgot to name those.
How dare you?
I know, right? All right. Well, thank you for that. Really fun question, Vedron. And then mine is comparatively just really fun and just kind of silly. But my topic this week comes from Cutie Caitlin, and it literally is just top 4 taco. That's it. I guess I don't know if you mean like brands or like kinds of tacos. So I'm going to go with kinds. And I've said this before. Steve doesn't agree with me, but my number 1 favorite kind of taco ever, easily by far, is authentic Al Pastor street tacos. I know. Al Pastor with the pineapple and the onions and the cilantro, the melt in your mouth. Easily my favorite.
There's never been a fruit more obviously not designed for human consumption than a pineapple. It's like the blue shell of food.
What do you have against pineapples?
It's a good fruit. It tastes good.
I would agree with that about honeydew, but like pineapples? No.
A honeydew doesn't look threatening when you walk up to it. A pineapple looks like, hey, don't touch me.
That is true. That is true.
It's like the dragon guarding its treasure at the end of the castle. That's the pineapple experience.
That's why you gotta
only
put in the work
sadists
for it.
love pineapple. I don't know what it says about you guys that you see something covered in spikes and you're like, I definitely want to eat this.
It just means they make you work for the good stuff. They make you work for the goods. I'm okay with that. It's
which is ironically the reason I don't like eating crab legs.
I don't like eating crab legs because they're the spiders of the sea.
Yeah, same. I can't deal with that. So for me, it's definitely Al Pastor street tacos, specifically from this amazing taco truck near where I live called El Flamin' Taco. Oh my God. One of my favorite things to eat ever. After that, I would say chicken. No, you don't know. That's wrong. Number 2 would be birria, or I can't say it properly. I can't roll my R's.
Birria tacos are the best.
Birria. So yeah, birria. Number 2, chicken. Number 3, and then probably asada. Number 4. I would say that's kind of my top 4 taco flavors, or not flavors, but variations.
Now
what about you
man
guys?
In Middle America.
Yeah.
So, I don't really care for tacos a whole lot.
Oh, okay.
Monster.
I don't know how I feel about that.
If I had my choice, I mean, I like burritos.
A burrito is a taco in a different form.
I know. There's just something there that doesn't work for me. I don't know how to describe it.
What if we made you a taco, but then we rolled it up?
Then suddenly I like it. I don't know what the deal is.
Wait,
That's so funny.
I think we have to be clear though, because I'm going to put this out into the universe, and I probably shouldn't. But are we talking like an American taco, like a fried taco? You don't like those,
Taco
or
Bell?
are we talking like a taco truck taco? Like,
I guess
I don't like the
that
term
does have a
street
lot to do
taco,
with
but
it.
like, you know,
I don't really have the opportunity to have like a really authentic taco. So this is largely just me thinking about Taco Bell.
okay,
Well,
that's
okay,
fair.
that
Like
makes
if
sense.
my
Totally
frame
fair.
of reference was only Taco Bell, I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not a fan of tacos.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, even living in Arizona, because I'm in the Southwest, I could drive to Mexico tonight if I was on one. Yeah, like authentic tacos blow American like fast food tacos out of the water by a
absolutely.
mile. Like it's not even fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could get that. Like if they're not, I mean, we were talking about this. Ash was telling me because he visited John and like Taco Bell's
I was going to tell this
development.
story. It's so good.
Yeah, I'll let Ash tell it because he was obviously there. But real quick for me, I would say birria tacos are like my number one. There's like, I don't know if it's like out here. There's a taco truck that sells quesabirria tacos where they like fry it, so it is like the shape of an Americanized taco. It's like the folded in half, like deep fried shell, and they dip it. Just I don't know what it is, man. It's like fucking grease, but it's delicious. Like you come prepared to shame walk away from this truck.
Oh, that sounds so good.
That's the experience you want.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like you waddle away and then you nap in your car before you drive back home.
Right.
There is a great Mexican restaurant here in town that I love to go to, but I always get just like carne asada burritos.
You need to just order a burrito so you feel like it's a burrito, but then just tell them to unroll it.
Right. Yeah.
Give me the burrito, but I want it flat.
They have fish tacos there that my wife really likes. I should try one of those sometime.
Fish tacos are delicious if done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But I would follow it up with a chicken taco, and then an asada taco, and then I'd probably do a fish taco. Honestly, just for that like variation in flavor. Anything's good with hot sauce on it.
Oh, that's for sure. But I generally can't do fish tacos because I just don't like cooked fish. I love sushi, but for some reason you lose me when you cook the fish. I don't like them. I don't like cooked fish.
I don't mind fried fish.
Yeah,
I think a good like a fish and chips style fried fish is amazing.
Have you ever had like a nice cooked swordfish?
Yes.
No.
Swordfish is the bomb, dude. If you ever get a chance, at least taste it.
Try it. Okay.
I think you might like it.
All right. The one weird like frame of reference I always have for fish tacos is I'll never forget that Bandai Namco did like the weirdest but also coolest tie-in marketing thing for the Wii remake of Klonoa, because it came with a coupon for a free fish taco from Wahoo's Fish Tacos. And that's perfect because Klonoa goes Wahoo. So
but where the hell is Wahoo's Fish Tacos?
I don't even know. I've only ever seen one in my life, and I actually did redeem the coupon, and it was good.
Those are the tacos that they serve at the restaurant I'm talking about.
Oh, Wahoo's. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that gave me strong like TMNT2 NES coming with a personal pan pizza coupon. Energy.
I couldn't believe they redid that for Shredder's Revenge.
That was so cool. Yeah.
God, now I want a pizza. Shit, we can't talk about Ninja Turtles without me wanting to eat pizza.
Oh man, I hear you. So to go back, and also Tinker, you're so right. Being an LA native has spoiled me so much on tacos.
I will say, as somebody who was born and spent a significant amount of his childhood in LA, I forgot just how good LA tacos are until I visited Ash and had some with him. And I was like, damn it, these are delicious.
Yeah.
Next time I'm out there, you got to take me. We made it a point to do Korean barbecue, which I love. I will always say yes, but I got to get me an LA taco.
No, next time you come out, we will go to El Flamin Tacos, and we'll let Steve be wrong, and I will show you the magic of an Al Pastor taco with pineapple there, and unloaded with onions and cilantro and hot sauce.
That's probably why that guy had a knife last time I was there. They put pineapples in his taco.
I will definitely take you there next time you're out here, Brandon. And to go back to that story really quick, which Steve mentioned. So John is one of my favorite people in the world, along with everybody on our crew, but some of my favorite people in the world, and I love him to death. So when I was in the UK for my best friend's wedding several months ago, I obviously took a day to visit John because, of course, I had to do that. We recorded some fun videos together and stuff. But on the train over, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, have you had lunch yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, no." He's like, "Oh, do you feel like tacos?" I'm like, "Oh, I always feel like tacos." Sure. And he's like, "Okay. Well, Roxy, his partner, and I we were going to order some tacos, but we'll wait till you get here so we can get you some too." I'm like, "Oh man, thanks." So I get there and he's like, "Yeah, we finally had this great taco place. The UK isn't great for tacos. There aren't a lot of it, but man, we got this place that's awesome, and let's go ahead and order." And he hands me his phone, and it is literally the Taco Bell app. And I'm like, "John, like, I love you, man, but you gotta have a real you gotta have a real ass taco." But yeah, he was like so excited. And of course, I mean, if you don't have a frame of reference and you don't get to have tacos, really, you're probably gonna think that. But it was Taco freaking Bell, and it was amazing.
You know what? I'm so excited to try a Taco Bell taco in the UK. I'm going in October.
You know what's funny about that, and it's not surprising at all? Taco Bell in the UK tastes so much cleaner and healthier than Taco Bell in the US.
I feel like everything probably does.
Oh, I think definitely. it definitely does. And yeah, eating like that UK Taco Bell meal was like not greasy. I didn't have a lot of regret after eating it. I was like, you know what? This tastes like fresh, clean Taco Bell. Still Taco Bell, but not as greasy and just as it is in the US.
That's so good.
So,
oh my God. This might be my favorite thing I've ever heard about John now.
I love that story so much. And I'll have to bring it up with him because we are trying to get him on another GVGcast soon to do an earlier episode again. So to get all of you folks across the pond an earlier show again. And I'll have to bring this up again with him because it'd be a funny story to kind of reminisce with him. But yeah, that is all true, all real. And I'll always remember it. It's a very, very good memory.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you, Caitlin, for that topic. That led to a really fun discussion. So I'm really glad I picked that. And yeah, so once again, those are our patron topics for the week. And if you'd like to suggest topics for us to discuss, like the ones we just did, head on over to patreon.com/gbgaming and check out our producer tier for $10 a month. But even if you don't, of course, we love you anyway, and that's all good. All right. Well, we got a few more super chats to read out, and then we will head off to our patron exclusive post show. So first of all, we've got Born96 with 5 British pounds, essentially. Thank you very much. Give level 5 to Phoenix Wright and make another latent crossover or a standalone game if Capcom are not working on another one. Sure. Yeah. I think it meant give Phoenix Wright to level 5, but yeah. At the same time, give Mega Man to somebody who will do it. Inti creates Yacht Club. I trust so many developers out there to do Mega Man right. So yeah, can't disagree with you there. Next up, I love this name. Hits over hype with $4.99. Thank you so much. Just need to come through and spread propaganda after beating Shantae Half Genie Hero by saying it legit has one of the greatest video game OSTs ever. And yes, you are so right. And Jake Vert Kaufman is one of the most talented musicians I've ever met. He's a super nice guy.
I think we missed a few.
Did we?
Purity Chalice.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Rambling
Yes,
Robin.
you're right. I did miss a few. I apologize, everybody. Okay, Purity Chalice with $9.99. Thank you so much. Hey, Steve, you're the only other person who I've heard say that they believe Breath of the Wild is a remake or reimagining of the first Legend of Zelda game. What is your theory on what is going to happen in Tears of the Kingdom? Which we kind of already touched on.
Yeah, we kind of covered it. I don't think it's going to be a remake of Zelda 2. I don't think it's going that way at all. I think, though, I think that I don't say remake. I think it's a reimagining. Oh, you did say reimagining. Yeah. So I think it's more of a reimagining than a remake insofar as Link emerges from a cave, and then there's an old man who guides you through. And it's just open-ended. Like, do whatever the hell you like. In fact, there's even art that kind of backs up that theory. In Japan, they didn't release the art here. Nintendo did a Famitsu cover where OG Link in the 80s art style is handing the Master Sword to Breath of the Wild Link. And that was on the cover the month that Breath of the Wild released in Japan. I have it somewhere.
I remember that. That was so cool.
So yeah, I think Nintendo has said that I could be wrong. I think at like a GDC or something, Nintendo made a comment to the effect of like, yeah, we kind of went back to Zelda 1.
Right.
And rethought some stuff and rolled it into Breath of the Wild. So, somebody posted the art. Yeah. But
it's so good.
It is such an excellent piece. But yeah, I think that's kind of where they're headed. I think Tears of the Kingdom, like I said, I've theory crafted on this a bunch. I have my own analysis up there with a bunch of theories. Brandon threw some in, Daniel threw some in, John threw some in. So we've all kind of theorized. I'm just going to say, I think what's going to happen is cool stuff.
Yeah, well said. I think we are going to try to get just a general Tears of the Kingdom just discussion about what we expect and story and stuff out before the game comes out. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Yes, we have a document called Zelda Week.
Yes.
So, real quick, Ash, I think we also missed Brandon.
I did. I was actually about
to Keaton with $20.
Yes, I was actually about to mention that. Sorry, everybody. I don't know how I got my super chats mixed up, but I am back in the right place. I apologize. So first of all, Brandon with $5. Thanks so much. Hey, Ash, what are your thoughts on the Dream State / Factory 93 events? And if you plan on going, those are my 2 favorite stages, so I'm very hyped. I'm not familiar with Factory 93, but my wife and I go to Dream State SoCal and Dream State LA actually now every year pretty much. And it's one of my favorite things every year. She's super into trance. I'm super into electronic music in general. So we love raves. We love going to raves together. And I love Dream State. She loves Dream State and we'll be there this year as well. So yeah, thank you for that question. Next up is Keaton Keatsney with $20. Thank you so much for your generosity. Random comment, but I've been playing Legends Arceus in the run up to Tears of the Kingdom, and Game Freak needs to expand on this game. It is the true evolution the Pokemon series needs. I didn't finish Arceus, but I definitely liked a lot of the ways that it innovated the moment-to-moment Pokemon gameplay. So I don't necessarily disagree, but that said, I actually really ended up enjoying Pokemon Violet a lot, despite the technical problems. And I actually really enjoyed it. and I liked the way that also evolved Pokemon's gameplay into a more open world style. And I don't even like open world games a lot of the time. So I both agree, but also feel like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did it right as well.
That's tough for me. I think that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were more enjoyable games for me. But I do think that I missed a lot of the new mechanical changes that are present in Legends. I think Legends, the act of catching Pokemon and battling them was more fun to me in Legends than it was in Scarlet and Violet. But I think Scarlet and Violet did more with the idea of exploration within the world. I enjoyed the explorative nature of those games more. So I would like to see something that kind of combines the good ideas from both of those games into something else.
Oh, I would love that. Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
I said yes, please.
Oh, yes, please. Totally agree. All right, thanks for that. Next up, Rambling Robin, $5. Thank you so much. Been a while since I made it to one of these live. Gonna sip on a Coke, play some Pokemon Black 2, and hang out. Well, thank you for hanging out, and I see you in our live audience patron chat as well, so I hope you're enjoying the show, and thank you so much. All right, next up, I did that one, sorry. Zub Mayer with $2. Thank you. Pete Hines versus Bobby Kotick. Who the hell is Pete Hines?
Oh, man, I recognize the name.
The head of publishing at Bethesda?
Yeah, okay. I recognize his face. I had to look him up.
I mean, I feel like it's got to be Pete Hines just by virtue of the fact that he's not Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like a shitty person or not. I mean, I feel like these days it's really hard. And I always tell people on Twitter, I'm like, hey, if you see me following a shitty person, just tell me because I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many people and so many awful like things going on all the time that it's impossible to be aware of all of them.
Totally. Yeah.
Is there a none of the above option?
I mean, wait, they're fighting though. So I'm going to vote for double KO.
I was going to say that, but I don't know if Pete is a nice guy or not. So
I don't. If I don't know and I know one's bad, just double KO. It's fine.
Double KO. Fair enough.
Knockout.
Next up, our good friend and patron Becca with $9.99. Thank you so much, Becca. Super Mario Odyssey made me fall back in love with gaming. If I didn't play that, I would have never ended up here. Amazing how life-changing some games end up being. Well,
hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And that makes me even happier that you play Super Mario Odyssey because I don't think any of us can imagine GVG's community without you in it. So, yeah, super glad you played Odyssey, and thank you for that.
Mario Odyssey taking you on an Odyssey.
Yes. All right. Next up is BlazeStar25 with $5. Thank you so much. Pineapples are the tsundere of fruit. Spiky on the outside, sweet on the inside. That is a good observation. I agree.
Very good.
I completely agree. Good call. I love that. And I did, unfortunately, forget at the time we were talking about Street Fighter 6 to mention our second super chat, so I'm going to go back and do that now. I apologize, Lizard81288, but you have not been forgotten. $5. Thank you so much. Capcom wants Street Fighter 6 to sell 10 million units. Is that reasonable? Street Fighter 5 sold 7 million. Guilty Gear Strive sold 1 million plus. Dragon Ball Fighter Z 8 million, and Tekken 7 sold 10 million plus. And these are all estimations. So we already talked about this, of course. We think it's possible for sure. I think all three of us agree it's possible, but not necessarily a guaranteed thing for the various reasons we talked about during that discussion. So once again, I apologize for forgetting to bring that up at the time, but thank you so much for the super chat nonetheless. And that, unless we got a last minute one, I don't think we did. Oh, we did. Aramis Baramis is back. Thank you so much for $20. Thank you so much for your generosity. Hey, GVG crew, loving the cast. Specifically for Steve, thanks so much for answering my questions on The Win. Love that podcast as well. The Battle Tower is going well.
It is my pleasure. Yeah. Just so I can plug real quick, The Win is available every Saturday morning. So tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, there will be a new episode up live on our Patreon. And producers and above, just like they do here, get to submit topics for me to discuss on The Win. We talk about everything Nintendo, and oftentimes we get 3 or 4 of those in per episode. So if you're a producer and you haven't, go ahead and do that. We're also giving away a copy of Tears of the Kingdom on the podcast for its launch next week.
Indeed. And that does almost bring us to the end of the show. I did want to plug one thing really quick. Before Zelda Week begins on our channel, I did sneak out a little preview of Mina the Hollower, Yacht Club Games' next game, the Shovel Knight devs, of course. Ant Dude, actually, our good friend Ant Dude, joined me for this preview discussion, and it's based on the updated demo, the slightly updated demo that we played at PAX East 2023 recently. So if you're into indie games like I am, and you love Yacht Club like we do, or like I do, please definitely check out our Mina preview on the channel, because it's going to get buried by all the Zelda videos we have coming. And that, as they say, is that. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 55 of the GVGcast. You know, we love doing this with you every week, and we really appreciate every single one of you in our community.
I don't want to cut you off, but I do have one piece of breaking news.
Oh, we like
Speaking of those folks you're about to thank, Stoby just joined us at the producer tier. You're going to find your name at the bottom of the credits. I've already got it in there for you.
Awesome.
But welcome to the producers group, and feel free to submit a topic to the win this week, or the next GVG cast, or Well, thank you very much for that, and welcome to the producer squad. We really appreciate your support. And once again, as a reminder, that is patreon.com/GVGaming if you're interested. So thank you so much for doing this. We're being here with us. We love doing this with you every week. As always, we had to give a special shout out to our patrons at the producer level and above for helping to make everything we do happen and keeping the lights on over here. But also, as always, we have to give an extra special thank you to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those amazing, wonderful, stupendous folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Z Patty, Just Brian, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman 23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Blake, Critter XD, Joy Content, Angel Martinez, Vedron, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Blindman, Azran127, Black King, Pagrema, Joseph Ruckin, Titus Malvolio, Iki Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Brady Power, Darchi, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Killamox, Sean Davis, Michael McCaw, Matthew Wong, Goron Ambers CPHT, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Ryaner, Nathan Steele, Rain and Clouds, The Game Orb, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Rosa Pardo Bowling. Hi, Mom.
Mega Amster, Skull Kid Tiger, Dark Steel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, Derek, Colin, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Keel, Moon Knight, Brendan Hesse, Hustle Bun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Brainchild, the entire state of Wisconsin, Jim Wakeland, Long Boy Shiggy, Aramis Baramis, Dat Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Kyle Gamer, and Barry Rookie, Blaze Collard, Eric, Cat Evie Person 5, Lady Maxillary, Peyton Thiel, Mega Beatman True Blue Reviews, Jung Ant, and last but certainly not least, Ryan Hanley. Thank you all so very much for all of your support. We love you all. We're headed off to our patron exclusive post show now, and we will see you next week for GVGcast on Thursday, a day early, because we're not going to be doing it on Zelda's release day. So we'll see you then. Thank you all so much, everybody. Good night and good vibes. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Say bye to the rabbits. Say bye to them.
Bye, bunnies.
Bye to the rabbits.
Bye, buddies.
Bye, buddies.